Welcome back to another short Legacy League where we have Green-White Lands versus Dimir Reanimator. A huge thank you to the Patreon supporters who are helping the league and YouTube channel. Also a special thank you to our 1-of-1 subscriber, Kira. January is National Blood Donor Month, so if you're able to give blood, please think about doing that. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. First match of 2025, David is on 5, I've kept 7, and I am on the play, leading off on an exploration and an ancient tomb, followed up with a sphere of resistance. A pretty traditional setup for me for playing Green-White Lands. My controller decided to stop working, or my stream decker I should say, so I had to reset the time and OBS to get it working correctly. But moving forward, we're going to go ahead and play Sylvan Library, getting ahead of myself here. Sylvan Library to, while taking the damage. But we're able to protect against at least the daze. I don't have a mana floating actually, because that does cost 3. So back over to David. After he's dazed, he's going to show us a fresh land here, so more information gained, knowing he at least has 1 card in hand that we know. Getting a little bit more information known. My throat is a little scratchy here, so it's maybe some cutting as I cough through most of this, and I have to chop it up and put it back to normal. So pretty good start for us here, putting a loam to the graveyard, knowing that there's going to be 2 explorations in the graveyard. Because that's what's on top at the moment, and we're going to be able to push past those and still be able to trigger that Sylvan Library next turn. Fetch land at the end of turn for Dave, and let's see if he has anything else to follow up with. We knew about that, or at this point we're just trying to find some sort of wasteland or something like that with all of these beautiful underground seas to get rid of. So we've got a trigger from the Sylvan Library, find a crop rotation, and there's a saga. So a mistake was made here by me. It puts me down to actually 8 life, not 12, because I was at 16 already. So we'll say that I was heavily medicated during this night, just because I've been sick for the past 2 weeks, and this was like my first night back out. So I was under the effects of some medication. So I'm not playing as well as I normally would, and B, I make quite a few mistakes throughout this entire match, which I'm happy to call out as I do them. So currently right now I should be at 8 life instead of 12, which will make a difference as we're moving forward through this game. And trying to decide what we need to do. Like I said, because I was at actually 8 life instead of 4, you can see where this game kind of goes, because I'm taking an additional 2 cards here, which would actually kill me. So this game probably is not a legit game from my side, just based on the way that it's played out so far. Yeah, it's not great. So anyway, my thought process behind this, if I was actually at the correct life total, was that I would play these Lava Spur Boots and then make a 20-20 and with my crop rotation and try and equip the boots and kick the shit out of David with a 20-20 with haste on the Lava Spur Boots, which didn't actually go to plan here. So yeah, now we're in a little bit more of a fight here to try and get through this match. So Dave is still playing the Dimir Reanimator deck without the frog now, so we can see how much the frog actually impacts, now that it's banned out of the format, how much the frog actually impacts this matchup, because he doesn't have the frog to enable that attraction that's in his hand, so he's going to have to find another way to get rid of it out of play. So this is I think the 2nd week that frog has been banned, maybe the 3rd week, I can't quite remember. But we're going to make a copy of the Urza Saga with the Thespian Stage. Doesn't gain a counter here. It just copies it, and then the next turn, during my upkeep, it will, or sure, during my main phase, it'll gain its first counter on there. So it is still a Thespian, not a Thespian Stage. It is still an Urza Saga, but it does still have the ability of Thespian Stage. So now that we've gone into the beginning of the main phase, we'll see some triggers on each one of them, and I'll be able to make another construct. Go get, I believe I get a, yeah, Soul Guide Lantern, getting rid of his Force of Will, so that insulates me against the graveyard. And I'm going to make a copy of the Urza Saga with Echoing Depths. It works the same way that copying with Thespian Stage does, where it doesn't get the counter until the next main phase. So sorry, my throat's killing me here, so I'm trying to work through this. Got a trigger from the Sylvan Library. Can't take any additional cards, but I can at least work through what I've got. So 2 triggers. Now I've got another Saga that's on 2. I can Wasteland, and we're going to see a tap of Float of Blue Mana. I'm going to attempt to pass and go to combat, which I should have done. I didn't do that. I should have done that at that point. And then I go to attack, and with the floating mana, before combat begins, he's going to Brazen Borrower, one of my constructs, which will put me down to at least 4 artifacts in play, so I can at least swing for 4 more. So it puts me down to 13. Technically, I would be dead at this point because of everything that I've done wrong in this game this whole time. And I'm going to attempt to Life from the Loam, getting my Wasteland back, and Forest and another card. I do have an Exploration, so I can Wasteland again. And he's going to pack it up.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Number 2, forgot to reset life totals, forgot to set the win button, as we can continue to see that I was heavily medicated on this point, or at this point. I'm going to cast an Exploration. David remarks that I always have those on turn 1, which is kind of what I try to do every single game. I at least want some acceleration from Exploration and or a Mox Diamond. And if I try and go with the Mox Diamond, actually I try and do acceleration for turn 1 no matter what. Ideally, I'd like to have an Urza Saga to follow that up with, so I can really start putting pressure onto the board as fast as possible. He now has Tropical Islands, and I do show the Wasteland here, which I probably should have held back from, but I think I was probably trying to play around a double daze here. And I think I do draw the Force of Will out of his hand. Luckily, he, believe, pitches the Consigned Memory, which would make my Urza Saga a little safer when it comes time. So that's exactly what happens. Remember to set the life totals, figure out which buttons do what. And there we go. All right, he is at 19 life, and I have a game win on the board. Back over to David, and he's going to play his 3rd land for turn, not giving up any real estate to my Wasteland, so I do have another in hand. Do find the Urza Saga, which is now safe to deploy now that the Consigned Memory is out of his hand. And we do have a Shadow Spear as well. See if he's going to decide to Daze and or Force of Will that as well. Shadow Spear comes in out of the sideboard to try and negate these big-ass creatures that he does have in his deck. But right now, it's not really that big of a deal. So, I think I am holding up a crop rotation for his... yes, I am holding up a crop rotation just in case I need to burn it for a... Bajuka Bog. The Blast Zone actually can probably come back out of the deck now, and we can probably put in another Ghost Quarter just as something that we can... Alright, so I did decide to burn my... I decided to burn that for a Thespian Stage, make a copy of the Urza Saga, make a construct. So what I was saying was we could probably take the Blast Zone out for another Ghost Quarter now that we don't have frogs in the meta. And Delver hasn't come back 100% yet, and Blast Zone's not too good about killing anything else in the format because the Eldrazi decks have such high CMC costs. I'm gonna make another construct and then try and realistically here, I probably should have gone and gotten a a lantern instead of getting the expedition map, especially since he is a reanimator deck. That's definitely a big punt from my side. Go get a Dark Depths to try and make a 20/20. He's going to fetch Entomb, and then he'll have his Reanimate. Going to be able to get his Archonic Cruelty, and that's one of the better cards to get in this matchup because I can't deal with it unless I have Swords of Plowshare in hand. So Archon is in play. He does take a boatload of damage from it. Gains 3 more life, and it looks like my life counter froze again here. That's weird. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to dig into that more. Like I was saying, the Archon's really good against the Green-White Lands deck because the Karakas does not deal with it the same way that an Urza's, Swords Plowshare does. So another great idea maybe for the sideboard, and I haven't really tested it yet, would be maybe 2 Path to Exiles as well, since a lot of decks aren't running more than 2 basic lands. So that would give me 2 more removals, so that'd give me 4 swords and 2 Path to Exiles that I could definitely be able to manage these creatures a little bit more. If I drop the Ghost Quarter out, it could probably give me a little bit more agency against the basic lands as well. So if I were to Path to Exile and then Ghost Quarter basic land, we're getting pretty close to Strip Mine territory when it comes to those, especially with Besejus as well. So a lot of agency to really punish these heavy non-basic land decks that Blood Moon and Harbinger of the Sea have been traditionally punishing as well. This is me thinking about how I want to do this, because I thought that once I had the trigger on the Urza Saga, I could then copy... once I had the search trigger on Urza Saga, I could then copy the Dark Depths. And I think I still can do that. I need to test it a little bit more. But I think I can get... There's a trigger for the 3rd counter, and there's a trigger for the search, if I remember correctly. Come back to game number 3, leading off on the Patented Exploration, and he is not going to have that this time with the Force of Will. Back over to David's side, he's at 19, I am still at 20, but that Exploration getting Force of Will definitely slows down any of my acceleration I was hoping to do. Pick up a Beseju, which is probably something I can take out of the deck now that I'm thinking about it for the sideboard. Come out with a Sylvan Library, see if we can beat that as well. We see a Troll of Khazad-dûm being cycled. Alright, he at least is making his land drops here. Plays his island, actually plays his swamp. Back over to me. Gonna tap that Sylvan Library, and it is a trigger. So he can respond to it with Orcish Bowmaster. Orcish Bowmaster does resolve with the trigger on the stack. He will gain 1 life, and I will also lose 1 life, which I do not believe I actually... Did I take... yeah, I took that hit. Okay, great. Took the hit. Gonna play out a Beseju here. Try and get a Sphere of Resistance into play. No problem from David on that side. No Force of Will, anything like that. So back over, he finds a Brazen Borrower, has another land in hand. So the Sphere is not really too concerning here. He does have another non-basic, or he has a fetch land, I should say, which is also a non-basic to play. So my Wasteland is not that great at the moment. Go down to 18. Back to me. We're going to see a trigger from the Sylvan Library again. Nothing too amazing here. There is an Endurance there, which is a plus. Another Beseju, which doesn't do anything. And I also believe there is a Ancient Tomb in there. I'm going to take 2 life here. Or sorry, 4 life here. And I believe I actually miss going down 1 extra life, because I was at 18. And I should be at 14. Again, not in the best state for me to be playing Magic. And it's definitely showing through here with my soppy play and horrible life counter uses. So So we're going to have a Brazen Borrower on the, or a Petty Theft, I should say. Petty Theft on the Sphere, and I decided to Wasteland him in response. Without Sphere being in play, my Endurance can come out now if I want. Alright, so we've got a Brainstorm. Resolves, and let's see what else he's got for me. Maybe he has a... There's a Reanimate in hand. Let's see if he's going to fire that thing off or if he's going to wait. So Reanimate is on the stack, targeting the Troll, and I'm going to Endurance that away. Once that's done, we discussed it because he has another Troll in hand, but Reanimate does target the creature, and upon resolution, it will reanimate the creature. With if he had Exhume in his hand, he could Exhume after the Endurance came into play, because at that point it would be he'd get priority back with Exhume on the stack. He could cycle the Control and go from there. So we got an Urza Saga in play, and looks like I have a Sphere available for me to use again, or the same Sphere that got bounced. I have a Seiju in hand. And I can't remember what the last card is. I can't quite see it. Oh, a Swords of Posture. Okay. Cycles that Troll of Cosmic Dune and is hitting land drops like crazy, so my Wasteland doesn't look great, and I don't have a Loam anyway. So Force of Will, Daze and Brazen Borrow in hand. I have the Endurance in play, stopping the attacks. Got another trigger here. I believe that's a Choke, if I remember correctly. And a Choke would be pretty good. He does have a Daze, so I'd need to play another land to get it into play. But my Saga's going to tick up. So I'm debating on how I want to do it. Do I want to get Constructs in play, or do I want to try and prison him the rest of the way out? I know another Sphere of Resistance would be great here, but I take Ally from the Loam. That makes sense. I think I opt not to do anything. I could have played the other Beseiju, but I couldn't Life from the Loam as well, which is why I think I held back on Loaming and making a Construct, because I didn't have quite enough mana. There is a Brazen Borrower in play now. The Endurance can still hold that up. My Construct can block the Orc Army, and we get one more look at these three cards before we're going to shuffle away with the Urza Saga. And I believe I do find the Choke there. And yes, I do. So now I have to decide whether I want to make another Construct or I want to actually choke him out. I decided to make a Construct. And I went for a Mox Diamond again instead of a Soul Guide Lantern, which I think was a big mistake again. It cost me the last game. I should have done it that game, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough. I think I was just trying to get ahead on mana, or trying to find a way of getting ahead on mana. But then I'm making he found another Reanimate for the Troll. It's not great for me. He does have the Daze in hand and a Force of Will, so I'm going to Reanimate, targeting the Troll of Cosmic Dune yet again. And this would have been a perfect spot, I think, after I try and Swords of Posture this Troll Instep, which plays right into his Daze, unfortunately, which could have been played around as well, but it would also turn off the Force of Will. We're going to try and Swords that Troll, and we're just going to get Dazed back out of it. So realistically, the Choke probably should have been played here. Hit the trigger, and I think we find another Saga or something along those lines. That's going to allow us to get the Saga going again. But at the moment, we can't block that Troll because it has Super Menace, essentially. With it takes 3 fucking creatures to block it. So I'm not going to be blocking that this turn. Technically, I should be at 14, not 15, because I didn't take the lowest... I missed a count on when I took an additional paid 4 life for an additional card. just trying to decide what my best course of action is with these top 3 cards. I think we're just going to take one here, which we do. We do have the Choke and the Life from the Loam and a Thespian Stage. And this is where I'm debating whether I play the Stage or I Loam and get the Saga going. And I choose to Loam and get the Saga going. And that makes a lot of sense because I don't have enough creatures to block the Troll. And if I don't get a Saga going here, I'm not going to be able to block the Troll ever. So, this is where we're sitting at the moment. Not in great shape. We can make a Construct next turn. He does rip another Reanimate, has another land in hand, and he has a Force of Will that he can't do anything with. So, if we find spells, we're free to do something. 6 damage coming across, and I go to 8 here as opposed to 9. So, I just keep that straight. I got the Saga going. Not too much going on at the top of my deck. I really need a Source of Plowshares to handle that Troll. Find an Exploration so I can at least place 2 lands out here and make a Construct. So I can play the Saga and... I'm sorry, not the Saga, but the Wasteland and the Thespian Stage. Wasteland, one of his lands. He's going to play his second Brazen Borrower from Adventure, and he'll lose that Underground Sea. Pass back over to him. So if we had 1 more mana, we could Choke, which still wouldn't make a difference because I don't, for whatever reason, I decided to take the Tabernacle out, which was a mistake. This Wasteland was timely drawn as well because if that Saga would have got to resolve, I could have gone for an Expedition map and then also Expedition map for a Maze of Ith. But we're able to at least triple block. This is 7 damage coming across, so I should actually be at 1 life, not 2. And now he's trying to decide how he wants to block. The constructs are 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 4/4s. So only 1 creature can die from this, but taking the Endurance is the correct play here, which David does see. Takes the Endurance, which means I can't block the Brazen Borrower. And at this point, I'm in pretty bad shape. I do have the Life from the Loam, so I can at least dredge 3. He does have another Troll of Cosmic Tune off the Reanimate that he had in hand, taking an additional 6 life, putting him down to 8. But all I can do is pray here. I think I find a Shadow Spear, which still isn't going to be enough, because A, I can't block the Troll, and B, even if I swing out with 1 construct with everything on it, he can block it with the Troll, and the Troll will trade with it. I'd only gain, 5, 6 life, which would be enough if he didn't have the Troll. But he's at such a high life total that me even attacking doesn't really mean anything. I guess I could have attacked with both, now that I'm looking at it. Could have attacked with both because that would have been lethal. So either had to choose to block 1, which would have killed the Troll. Put me up 6. Damn it, that was a miss.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.